Welcome everybody, good morning. Instead of a let's play on the west coast, I wanted to save a little time and, since I'm away at this farm in real life, I thought it would be fitting to do a little spring tillage even though I am harvesting in real life. Let's head out of the barnyard here and head on down to a field that we're going to buy and test the borders of. So, this will be a little bit of a sorry, can't really drive there. This will be a little bit of a taste. Actually, let's stop here real quick. At the suggestion of some of my testers, since this is a big map and we have a liquid fertilizer point that you can buy, and you can also buy dry fertilizer there and put it in a trailer from a spout. You can buy where is it? Let's get rid of the corn, and you can buy where's Broadway Road? No, this is Unsicker Road. Unsicker Road is right there. You can buy, right about there, you can buy pig food and put it in a trailer. It comes right out of a spout. Of course, you can buy all these at the shop and they'll appear up there. I'm talking about things that you can load into a trailer. And then you can also buy seed up there that you can load into a trailer. And at the home farm, at the suggestion of my testers, we have a liquid fertilizer storage. And, just so you can save a little bit money on bulk, we have pig food storage, of course, and there is dry fertilizer, and then this is seed storage over here. Whoops, looks like I parked the water trailer a little bit too close to that when I was getting that added. Anyway, and this is a pig food mixer. I included signs on there to make it clear what you could put in and out of that mixer, and then different pits for loading. This is, kind of designed for mass production of pig food, and it's a similar mixture to what happened on the farm when we had pigs in real life. Of course, we didn't have a bulk mixer like that. We had a, mixing wagon similar to what you buy in the store here. Anyway, let's hop back in the tractor, run down the lane to a field. We're gonna buy the field and we will start testing. So we are gonna buy what is called Grandma's Field. As I'm looking at this, I think I should add maybe a little grass in the middle of this lane. I don't know. Anyway, I have decided, if you are not on FSUK or in case you missed it, I have we'll just go on over to the corner. I have decided to separate the field boundaries a little bit, and instead of making it like real life, here I'll show a shot of real life what this field looks like. So this is what we call Grandma's Field. It is about a 30-acre field. It is field number 6 in real life, but remember this map is scaled, so it's this is 6 square kilometers in real life, but of course on a 4x map, I believe it is, it's 4 by 4 kilometers. So, anyway, that is what happened. So in real life, the boundary here to these two fields is right next to each other. It's not this, it's not separated like this. This is actually owned and farmed by a farmer named Glick. Glick Acres is the name of his farm. Anyway, let's get in here and test this boundary. I am really trying to make it so that course play and hired help don't have any problems with the boundaries. So let's start testing. This is all farmed as one field. As you can see, it's, the outline of the field is a big it's a big rectangle, but these green paths that you see floating throughout the land, you can kind of see how the terrain slopes down into a creek. Let's pause and look at the map real quick. This creek you can see flowing throughout basically the entire map. We're right here. It kind of flows this way and then through here. And so all of these paths, these waterways, since the topsoil is really loose in central Illinois, it's some of the best soil in the world for planting corn. And, you can attest to that. Tazewell County is actually the corn record holder for average bushels. Apart from, I think there were 2 small counties in California, but they don't really produce corn on mass like we produce it. Anyway, field number 6 is right here. So you can see these waterways are actually part of the field. So this is actually all one field. We plant it and harvest it as one field. But you have to have these waterways, otherwise, you know, it's the low spot in the field, so it would wash out, and you would take all this topsoil, and you would lose all this topsoil to the creek. So, you know, when you plant and harvest and cultivate it, you plant it basically how I am doing it now. You always want to have your longest rows, you know, you always want to go along your longest path. So you basically just lift up the planter and the seeder when you get to the waterway and drop it on the other side. But otherwise, you plant and plow and cultivate straight through, obviously lifting it up. So you keep the grass there is what I'm trying to say. You do not want to get rid of the grass. Otherwise, you'll start having this horrible washout. And I'm thinking to prevent players from just plowing up this field, I'm trying to make it a little bit unstable. And a lot of them kind of has, you can kind of see the waterway there has bumps just like it does in real life. So you probably wouldn't want to plow it up anyway. And in other spots, I'm putting like a little gully. You know, it's like a little visible ditch, so I don't think a plow or seeder would work in it very well anyway. So you're better off just leaving all these areas like they are when you first see the map. I will most likely make a course play field definition. You know, based on the separation that you see here between the two fields, course play shouldn't be too much of a problem, except for, one second, I'm going to test all the way to the end. Normally, in real life, of course, you would pull up a little bit sooner than that, and you cultivate the end rows last. But since we are testing, I am going to drive onto the neighbor's field a little bit. Hopefully, Glick does not mind. And then this field over here is Duffelmeyer's. That actually just sold. We actually, well, we almost bought it, but anyway, we didn't. So we are here, and yeah, let's just test along the border. You do have to test both directions, I have found. You really need to test both directions when you test these edge boundaries, because sometimes it's fine, and sometimes you have problems. Okay, so here we go. And we will... There we go, okay. So we'll just test back the other way now. Might as well do that now, and then we will test. There's another border here. Anyway, as I was saying, course play, I will probably, you know, put field texture in all these fields and make course play courses. I'll probably put field texture in all these fields just to make course play textures. Of course, I won't save it that way and publish it that way, but so that way I can easily make course play courses for this entire rectangle field. And that way you don't have to, because right now, here, I'll show you what happens. Yes, 1 second while I turn around. And let's drop it there. Okay, so far, so good on the edges. I'll hop on with course play here. So if you go to calculate current edge path, oh, well, see there, it put me in the wrong field. Let's, there we go. So it only had this section, right? And that's the problem. If you want to have the course play tractor operating like it does in real life, well, you know, I mean, obviously in real life we would lift up the planter and cultivator, but for course play, it can just drag the cultivator and seeder right through the grass, and that won't really matter. As long as you're not plowing, you'll be able to use this edge path of this entire rectangular field as opposed to the one I am showing you now. So I think that will make it a lot more friendly for people, but it will still allow them to keep the natural terrain features of the land that we use to prevent erosion. And I think that's a pretty good compromise. I'm thinking about, right now this was based on the previous field definition, the leftover stubble. I think that I'll just fill the whole thing with either stubble or corn stalks or something like that, so you can more visibly see, like, hey, you know, it's kind of a limitation of the game. This is the real field boundary in real life, even though we are not. You know what, just to test this, I will keep it dragging all the way through, even though obviously in real life we lift it up. And okay, so far we're doing good with this edge. And then we just have to test the other corners. I will, even though there's nothing but a pig pasture right there, it could potentially throw a conflict with that field, so I will test the boundary at that corner. And again, I should probably test it both ways, even though, yeah, it can't hurt. So let's just take a turn when it's lowered and see if we can't. Okay, so no problem there. So it definitely shouldn't give us a problem further in. Let's raise real quick and head back the other way. And hopefully it does not give us a problem either here. While we're here, let's actually get rid of that. And just to make it a little bit nicer. All right. Looks like this edge is good. This is actually going to be a first. Like, even with the border that wide apart, I'm still having some problems on some fields where it's two straight edges and going one way, even that far apart, it gives me problems, and other times it does not. So that's something I just don't get. That should be far enough apart that I'm actually not going to test both directions, but we'll just test here on this edge. So you can see this is actually kind of, in real life, it looks much the same. There is a, it's a waterway, because it is a little bit of a low spot, but we also use it as a lane to get access down to our other fields. Otherwise, all these fields that we farm here are basically landlocked, so there's no other way. Whoops, left blinker. There's no other way access to them. Glick's field over there, he actually has easement down our lane so that he can get access to his field. If there's a field that's ever sold that's landlocked, it's basically always sold with easement rights. And that was actually the issue with Duffelmeyer's, why we didn't sell it, because they didn't want us driving through their property, or whoever bought it was not allowed to drive through their property. They had to go through one of their own fields, and that's a lot of grain to haul out of all that land back there without being able to use the road that's right next to their farm. There's actually a little lane, a little road that's paved right on the other side of the barn with those two grain bins that you see there in the distance. So it heads up there to the north onto Queenwood Road. Anyway, it looks like we are pretty good with the boundary there. Again, this is something that I hated to do that because that doesn't exist in real life. Those fields butt up right next to each other. But we had to do it. This is actually Fritz's on the left. We don't own that, but we farm it. It's actually name change. It's Martha Mosier owns that land, and we farm it for her. So that's actually some of the best land that we farm. It is really, really good soil, and it is mostly flat. But anyway, looks like we are good that way. And the only other thing, let's just turn around onto the Duffelmeyer's land, and let's test the very corner here going this way, and it looks like we are good. So we can check off field number 6. I think we are good. The only thing that I think Courseplay would present a problem with is, off the top of my head, this field back here is actually owned by Ebrines. We actually farm it as well. But we'll pull up the field. It is field number 9. As you can see, this little bit on the north side of the creek is Ebrines, and then all of this to the south is Ebrines. And actually, field 15 is all Ebrines as well. I have these white squares on here because otherwise it would be hard to know who owns what, and when you buy what field, what you get. These definitions are actually all made based on real-life owners. Like, this is Mr. Farney. I actually went to high school with Farney. Farney owns and farms all of this area. And in some cases, I actually combined, like here... No, not there. In some cases, I combined a couple fields with a couple owners, even though it's not real life, just to make it a little bit easier for field definitions. Like down here, you can see these were actually at one point different fields, but I had so many problems with them, I just combined it all onto one field. Then over here, we have Tremont Cooperative Grain Company, and there is Sun Ag, where you get the liquid and dry fertilizer that I told you about. Anyway, you can see the waterways, yeah, so I might have to think about how I'm doing these if I want Courseplay to be easy for people, because like this, 41... that was combined several fields, but you can see this is all one field and this is all one field. But if I let course play have its way with this, I think it'll define this area as one field and then this area as another field, when in reality it's all like that, and then that's a separate field. But I don't know, maybe I should just make it all one field. I don't know. I got some thinking to do if I want course play to work. Yeah, see there, 38 is another problem field, as is, no, yeah, 39 a little bit down there. But there's a creek there, so that's actually, you can't just run straight through there because there's trees there. Anyway, I don't know. I got a little bit of thinking to do about this map, but I did just want to give you a little tour of testing a field. I think that it helps you show a little bit more of the map, what the area looks like back here. And some of the map doesn't look, a lot of the map actually does not look this nice because, all those other fields on the other side of the creek are kind of a little bit more open. Not that they look bad, but they're just not quite as nice and cozy as back in there. But anyway, this land definitely has a little bit of character based on its proximity to the Peoria River. I think if, it's a little bit further away, it gets a little bit more flat and the topsoil doesn't run as nice. But anyway, we are heading back to the home farm. I did a lot of optimization. It's still on my laptop, this home farm area. When I look at it, I think it drops to around 40 frames. My laptop has what is it? It's the underpowered i7 processor. Was that 6700 HQ or something like that? So that affects its performance a little bit, but it does have a 1060 graphics card in that laptop. It's a Razer Blade, the 2016 edition, and it drops to about 40 frames at this home farm. And not all these buildings are the best, but I don't know. I don't know how to optimize it any better. And if you want pigs and cows and sheds and silos, everything at the home farm that basically we have in real life, or we would have if we still had cows, there just isn't another way that I could see to optimize this home area better. Those steel bends actually contribute to some of the problem. There's a lot of wasted texture and flat spots in the middle of them, but I have gone through and optimized them as much as I can. It's not perfect, this area. Obviously on my desktop, I am not having any problems anywhere around the home farm here. But with a laptop, you might have a problem here at the home farm with FPS dip, but that's only here. As soon as you get out past this home area, the rest of the map is actually really good, despite having really, really long view distances. So, there are a lot of objects that you can see all over the map from this distance. There you go. You can just see whoops, I think I just went right back. That's an example of how the steel bends are not optimized correctly. Every layer on there has a flat spot. I should probably really take those out for another steel bend that doesn't have that problem, but that's just a lot of surfaces and extra triangles to render that aren't being shown. Anyway, I don't know too much about editing, otherwise I could probably edit that myself in Blender. But you can see that there are, you can see Tremont Cooperative Grain Company, and even on my laptop I get 60 frames per second looking at the Tremont Grain Cooperative. So it looks like it dipped a little bit there as I was moving, but that might just be new textures that it hadn't rendered yet. Anyway, yeah, it's a pretty good. I got a little bit more optimization to do, but it's pretty good, and it's mainly just testing field boundaries for now. So I did just want I just wanted to show you all of that, and I think that's about it. So I'm not sure what else there is to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tour of the map, and like I said, this is just a quick little video. It's simpler and faster than doing a Let's Play on the West Coast. It's just short and sweet, although it's not so short now that I keep talking. But we will, those cars the cars aren't perfect at that speed. They seem to jump a little bit. There's no way to smooth them out. But anyway, that was not a frame drop. That's just the way that the cars go. But I feel like it's great because the cars do move at 55 miles an hour. I have not seen any stop traffic yet, and they still do stop in time before they get to your vehicle. And so that was really important to me. So it does limit the paths that they can take in an intersection just to make the traffic flow smooth through the intersection. But it does mean that you won't have problems with slow-moving vehicles despite really fast-moving traffic. So, yeah, unless you pull out in front of a car that doesn't have enough time to stop, you should be fine on this map with traffic. Anyway, I think that should just about do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tour. So, until next time, I will see you guys later.